Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 9 and today we will present our ISAS about security concept of firewall. First of all, let me introduce our member. My name is Erlangga Adidarma Hartono.
And my name is Hery Aristito.
Next. So this is our table of content. There are definition of security information technology, definition of firewall, short history of firewall, characteristic, limitation, how it works, component type and comparison between network-based and host-based firewalls. And the last one is advantage and disadvantage of using firewall. Next. And first is definition of security and information technology. Next. A security itself can be defined as an effort made by a person or organization to secure everything in it. It includes policies and practice to prevent and monitor unauthorized access, abuse, or denial that occurs on computer networks. Next. And then we go to definition of firewall. Next. Firewall is a network security device that prevents unauthorized access to or from a private network, which means that unauthorized internet users are frequently denied access to private networks connected to the internet by firewalls. The way this firewall works is like filtering package on the internet or network which will enter our device with packet filtering, circuit gateway, proxy, and stateful inspection. With all of this component, firewalls analyze each packet and stop those that do not fit the defined security requirement before it enters or leaves the business network. Next. Then we go to short history of firewall. Next. The first generation is packet filters were developed by Bill Cheswick and Steve Bellovin in 1988. And the second generation is stateful filters were developed from 1989 to 1990 by Dave Pesetto, Janardhan Sharma, and Titu Singhan. And the third generation is application layer, currently developed by the Middle Box Communication Working Group of the Internet Engineering Task Force. Next. And then we go to characteristic of firewall. The first characteristic is firewall must be usually stronger and also more immune to external attack. And the second is only known or registered activities can bypass intercourse. In this case, it is done by setting the policy in the local security configuration. And the third is all activity that comes from the inside out must pass through the firewall first. This is done by limiting or blocking all access to the local network unless it passes through the firewall first. Next. Next. And then we go to the limitation of firewall. The first limitation is the firewall cannot protect against attacks that bypass the firewalls. Internal system may have a dial-out capability to connect to an ISP or internet service provider. An internal LAN may support a modem pool that provides dial-in capability for traveling employees and telecommuters. And the second is that firewall doesn't protect against internal threats. It's like an employee cooperating with the hacker or maybe various other internal disturbance. And the third is the firewall cannot defend against the transfer of virus-infected program or files. Next.
Now I'm gonna explain about how firewall works. Firewall works within a private network. Firewalls filter network traffic. It determines which types of traffic should be permitted or prohibited based on a set of rules. Consider the firewall as a gatekeeper at your computer entrance point. allowing only trustworthy sources or IP addresses to gain access to your network based on predefined security rules. And you can see in these two pictures, there is an example of good traffic and bad traffic. The next one is component of firewall. The first one is packet filtering. According to its regulations, packet filter collects traffic passing over the network. A packet filter usually has a source IP address, a source port, and a destination IP address and port. Packets are filtered based on this characteristic to be passed or blocked over the network at certain locations. The second one is circuit level gateway. A circuit level gateway is a device that by default blocks all incoming traffic from any host. In essence, the client machine runs software that allows traffic to connect to the circuit level gateway machine. All communication appears to be routed to an internal network from the outside, but it is actually routed through a circuit level gateway. And the third one is application level gateway. For an application level gateway, the internal client creates a connection with the application gateway, which then decides whether or not to maintain the connection. So all communication between the client and the application gateway, as well as the application gateway and the destination, is the responsibility of the client. It monitors all the traffic that passes through it. And the fourth one is stateful inspection firewall. Before checking, the stateful firewall always performs filtering on the traffic path according to the characteristic of the packet. After filtering, it can be determined whether the packet is allowed to enter or not. They also can be highly effective in defending network devices against particular attacks such as DOS. And for the next one is type of firewall. Basically, there is only two type of firewall: host-based and network-based. For host-based, these firewalls are deployed on each person's server and monitor all incoming and outgoing signals. In some circumstances, corporations use host-based firewalls in addition to perimeter-based firewalls to provide internal security. And for this picture in host-based firewall, users will find a host-based firewall system to be simple to use because it can be adapted to the user's PC and its settings may be altered at any moment for optimal performance. And for network-based firewall, these firewalls are either incorporated into the cloud infrastructure or provided as a virtual firewall services. The primary function of these firewalls is to filter traffic from the internet to be secured, LAN, and back. And as you can see in this table, this is the comparison between network-based and host-based. There's a lot of comparison. And next one is advantage and disadvantage. And for the advantage of the firewall, we have traffic monitoring, block Trojan, soft hackers, simplicity, remote coverage, and for the disadvantage, we have releaser restriction, reduced performance, high click cost, and internal attack. So yeah, that's all for our presentation. Thank you for watching.